Oh yeah, it's way broke.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at the English Creek Outlaw Kart track. And tonight is the finale of their Nationals event, day number 2. So welcome back to the show. Yesterday, we showed up here, never been to this racetrack before, and it was awesome to get back in the factory QRC number 18T Outlaw Kart with Jimmy Elledge on the wrenches. Felt like winter time, except right here in the middle of summer in Knoxville, Iowa, not too far from the big track. Anyway, yesterday we got to qualify and run a heat race, and between those 2 on-track appearances, it set us up for where we're going to be sitting rolling into tonight's feature. There's 61 opens, so they're going to have an alphabet soup, but luckily, even with some complications, and we lost a field line in qualifying, only got 1 lap at the end, won our heat race from the outside pole. With all that, we are going to be rolling off from 7th in tonight's 25 lap A. So we're in a great position. I actually have 2 teammates at this race, and they start on the front row, so I'm going to be trying to run them down. All 3 of our QRC red cars have speed. We unloaded well, and this racetrack is just really fun, and I think it suits all of our driving style. For a kart, it's pretty good size, but there's a lot of banking and it's wide, so you can run multiple different lanes. And I think the goal by the end of it is hopefully there's just a little bit of grip on the bottom where you really got to slow down and hit it. And if we could also just be banging the boards with our right rear up on the wall, that would definitely be the best possible surface we could see. Until then, we're gonna have the pit meeting soon. We're gonna get our cars fired up. We might get 1 hot lap session, I believe, to kind of shake our cars down, and then wait for our turn to go for our feature. So we just got our only laps of the night before we're gonna head out for the feature, paying all the money. It is almost 11 p.m. right now. Surface is a little bit different than it was for our heats and qualifying. Yesterday it had a lot more moisture, and it felt like the moisture was constantly changing and almost like brought back throughout the night. I think there's a possibility for that today as well. Just it's already slicker and it's much harder through the center. So the humidity is probably not gonna have as much of an effect. We went out there and ran the top, felt really, really good. It's almost like you can run 3/4 of the way up, and then if you get up farther, you're not actually building any more speed. It's still kind of marbly, dirty, and it almost kind of flattens off and feels like it gets a shelf, and there's just no curb to lean on. We're hoping that that lane will stay in throughout the feature, you know, about 3/4 of the way up. It sounds like a couple guys kind of worked through the middle, and then we all tried working on sticking the bottom. Overall, I think we were 3rd quick, and we were all really, really close in time. Just gotta find a little bit of extra. The main thing when I was out there, I wasn't necessarily trying to, you know, burn a qualifying lap, just kind of working on, you know, where I would run in a race, and I feel like that was very helpful, and I was happy with my car. Feel great, you know, middle up, just got to work on the bottom and figuring out like how to run it. You know, is it best to carry speed, and if you just miss it, keep carrying speed through the slick and, you know, working on momentum, or actually, you know, trying to drive in a little straighter, maybe grab some brakes, slow down the wheel spin, and try to drive off straight and almost like catch the grip from center off. It felt like in that hot lap session, every time we did, it almost like drove us out of the grip, and it's like your car feels tight. So just trying to figure out what we're feeling, and, you know, maybe how can we adjust that on track, and how can we maybe make a slight adjustment with our car, because I feel like we're really, really close. Just gonna watch the rest of the races, let some more time pass, and we'll be strapping in. So everything we've been working for between the 2 nights leads into this. Just strapping in. We're getting close, I think, to the 12:45-ish mark. Now it's in the morning. Gonna roll out, try to run the best race possible. Right now it kind of seems like the surface is pretty good on the bottom. That's how it was for the other classes. I don't really know. I think for us, hopefully we have the freedom to kind of move around. I think we're gonna have to, at least where I'm at, gonna have to try just about every lane to work my way forward, and hopefully by then I'll find something that no one else has. Overall, gotta run a smart race. Sure, we're gonna have some cautions, but just try to get in a rhythm quick and go.
French broke. Or is it?
That lost me the race.
Oh yeah, it's way broke.
Well guys, loading up, just getting everything ready to be back in the trailer. This was QRC's last trip of their tour, so now I think tomorrow, this trailer, this rig is heading back to California. Now as far as my main event, I started 7th and ended up finishing 3rd. Early on, I kind of made some progress running the inside, and eventually I was just like, screw it. I couldn't really make the bottom work any longer. I really just wasn't that good, and looking ahead, a lot of guys were running it, and I was just tired of being in that train. So about 7-8 laps in, I think it was, we had a restart. Everybody went to the bottom, and I just cleared my own track up top and started running up by the fence. See, the reason guys were running down here is because it was clean and maybe starting to get abrasive, but I was able to use the banking and just build my own speed, especially when other guys didn't have it and they would kind of get bottled up, you know, in their own lane. So I used the outside to go from 5th all the way to 2nd behind my teammate Landon Brooks. I'm like, all right, I think I have him as long as I don't show my cards too soon. Then I fired off on the restart and noticed immediately that there was a problem. Well, what ended up happening, and I don't know if it was under the yellow, I don't know if it was a couple laps before, but basically once I got into 2nd, my frame actually broke on the seat bar. And if you're unfamiliar with Outlaw Karts, suspension is everything in a race car. Well, Outlaw Karts don't have suspension, so we don't have torsion bars, don't have shocks, don't have any springs. So our 27-pound frame, that is everything. That absorbs, you know, the force. That's how you go around the racetrack. That's where you have speed, and that's why we run QRC Karts, because they're the best of the best. But, you know, sometimes things just happen, and it broke, and of course, you know, once that occurs, you're done. I was literally going through the corner, and since it broke and fell off, like I was just digging into the racetrack and I was going in, it felt like I had like a combination of a flat tire and the engine was falling off, and I was leaning really bad, and I never experienced it before because I've drove for Jimmy for 6 years and we've just never had that happen. So basically I got to 2nd and I didn't hold it very long. Preston Carr, my other teammate, got by, and him and Landon kind of had a duel to the end, and I kind of just watched it as I was just trying to hold on, kind of running the bottom. But you know, sometimes, like I said, things like that happen, and sometimes you're the ball and sometimes you're the bat. All in all though, that wraps up the English Creek Outlaw Kart Nationals. Started 7th, finished 3rd, kind of battled through some adversity, you know, the 2 nights, and did all we could, and you know, put together a solid run. Gotta thank Jimmy Elledge and everyone at Factory QRC for supporting me. You know, I think it really shows how Jimmy can bring karts everywhere, and you know, he's the key piece of the puzzle. You know, we're lucky to get to drive them. You know, he's went to some other tracks on this tour and won everywhere they've went, and just you know, our red cars have so much speed because of the time, the effort, the attention to detail that he puts in. It's actually unbelievable, and he deserves, you know, so much credit for, you know, where he's gotten QRC Karts and his open car and all of his cars. It's just like I said, it's truly awesome to be a part of his program. So that was a relaxing 2 days doing some kart racing. Now it's time to focus on Knoxville Nationals. We will head back right down the road 15 minutes to that speedway, finish off our trip in English Creek. It was fun. It was a couple of late nights, but definitely want to get back and maybe see this place again. It's got so much potential, and it was a lot of fun in the red Factory QRC number 18T. Deuces.